Hello, KMMA tribe, friends, family, student. I hope this message finds you well. I'm coming to you very, very excited. I'm coming off a great weekend. We had an amazing Black Belt leadership dinner, and then I had a great weekend with my grandson. And this morning I was already doing some strategic planning to make 2025 our best year ever. I know I made that just a little less evergreen just now by saying 2025, but one, it's relevant to all of us right now. Two, the same thing I'm about to teach on and share with you will be true every single year from here on out. And here's what I want to talk about. The truth is, I've been having many conversations over the last week and so on different things, and some were, some were very fundamentally that I was coaching the other person, and some then just led to meditation, like my coffee time in the morning with Barbara is always that. And so I honestly had, couple three, maybe even a handful of ideas where I was like, what do I want to talk on? There's so much. And then I realized that they all kind of fell under the umbrella of what I want to talk to you about today, which is how to get more of what you actually want in your life, in your business, in whatever goals, endeavors, like how to get more of what you want and less of what you don't. And then I thought a little further on the subject, and I reduced it to 5 steps, 5 things that we must do to get more of what we want and less of what we don't. And look, to be clear here, like all the rest of us, it's not that, it's not that I know everything. It's not that this isn't a one-way conversation. I'm in it with you. We're all in it. Well, everybody who's trying to be the best and highest version of themselves is in it together, is in it where we're like constantly looking for the things that will help us get more of what we want and less of what we don't as we move forward, as we follow that Black Belt leadership principle of constant and never-ending improvement. So without any further ado, without any more caveat, let me get to the 5 steps to getting more of what you want in 2025 or any year thereafter. And the first was a discussion that I was having honestly with my grandson on focus this weekend. And of course, focus is the first Black Belt superpower that we talk about at KMMA. But it's also focus. We know that energy flows where focus goes. And even just that sub element of the focus, you take focus as a big subject, even just the sub element, which says energy flows where focus goes, there are a dozen or more great lessons, different angles of how that principle is true. Today, I want to talk about one of the most important, and it's this. What I was teaching my grandson is that energy does flow where focus goes, and we get more of what we focus on. So we have to be so careful about what it is that we're actually focusing on. When we are worried and we're focused on things that could go wrong, may go wrong, when we're thinking the worst case scenarios, when we are focusing in a negative direction, we are creating that thing. Like very, very often, the energy flows in a way that we will create the outcome that we don't want. It's what we mean when we talk about self-fulfilling prophecies, because then our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors drive us in the direction that we didn't want. So it's very, very easy to fix. And all it is every time you catch yourself focusing on what you don't want to happen, you figure out, what do I want to happen instead? And then use your focus muscle to focus the energy on that, the direction you do want to go, not the one that you don't. So that's the first step, is to focus your focus. Focus the energy in a positive direction, one that you for sure want in the coming year. The second is time management. Of course, I believe that time management is a myth because we can't manage time. Time is greater than us. Everybody has the same time. But what we can do is manage our own time, energy, and attention, our own energy and attention within the time. We can focus what we do with our time. And so the important thing is that we have to do more of the things that get us more of what we want and less of the things that don't. And I'm going to pick on something specific, but it could be anything. Video games, for example. There's nothing wrong if you're a gamer, of course, right? Like I have several people in my tribe that love video games. Truth is, I played Atari boxing when I was little. And then when my kids were little, my grown sons were little, we used to play the UFC game that was on some game system they had. but that's been my exposure to it. I'm not really a gamer. But for me, the same principle I'm about to share could apply to riding my Harley Davidson motorcycle, which I do for a couple 5 hours a week or so. See, here's the thing: if the video game is the recreational thing for you, right, and you want to spend a few hours on a weekend enjoying that video game, there's nothing wrong with that. But if someone is like, oh no, this is what I do for relaxation. So they go home at night after work and then they spend hours on a video game, and then therefore they don't get up early enough to do the things that they really should be doing the next day to accomplish their physical and professional goals. Well, that's how you get more of what you don't want and less of what you want. And again, you can replace video game with whatever your particular thing is. The point is, when we put more value on the time passing stuff than we do on the stuff that actually moves us in the direction of our dreams and goals, well, then you can't expect to get the dreams and goals. There is a direct correlation always. I heard somebody say the other day, it was Patrick Bet-David in this book, Your Next 5 Moves, but he had a great quote. He said, when you find yourself not attaining the thing that you want, you need to take an honest look, and you need to either raise your work ethic to your ambition or lower your ambition to your work ethic. It's the only way. So what am I saying here? I'm saying, to get back on task here, to get back on point, that not only do we got to focus our mind on what we're focusing on, but we got to focus our time. We got to focus what we do with the time that we have available within the matrix that is our time. Number 3 is habits. We know, I think Maxwell said it first, but it's been, every great teacher says this, is that, you won't change your life until you change something that you do daily, right? And so we know that our habits are moving us either more in the direction of the things we want or more away from the things that we want. And I have just a couple quick pieces because I could go off on another tangent on the power of habits. But by the way, if you want to read some great books on it, you can read Atomic Habits by James Clear. You can read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. You can read The Slight Edge. And I can't remember the author of that right now, but those are just a few of the many great books on habits. The important thing is, I'm going to give you just a couple important pieces. Number 1, it's very difficult to simply eliminate a negative habit. So try to find positive habits to replace the negative habits. And I'm going to give just one little example here. Very, very often somebody comes and starts our Krav Maga martial arts program and recognizes that they're very short of wind. They have a very difficult time because they smoke. And very, very often the smokers quit smoking because it's the way that they can more fully enjoy the physical activity piece, the fitness piece of what we do here. So that's one of the things, is replace the negative habits with new positive habits that make the negative habits less appealing. The second thing is, get a streak. And what I mean by that is you need a rhythm register, right? And there's so many different ways. I'm actually going to do a little research today because I was thinking if I could find a way to automate, and I'm sure that there's an app for that. To automate and say, and check off the habits that I will be installing in my operating system for 2025, and check them off daily. And it actually shows a streak. I know the thing exists. I'll probably get some comments from some of you that watch this on and thank you in advance for the advice on what I could use, because I have some manual rhythm registers. I use a planner every day. I have lots of systems, but because I did play a game recently. Well, it's called Duolingo. I was learning Japanese, and the streak thing really helps keep you motivated. So there's probably an app for that where you can put the things that you're going to do every single day, or you're going to not do every single day, and check them off so you can keep the streak. So far we have focusing our mind, right, on what we want, not on what we don't want. We have managing ourselves within that time, and we have replacing negative habits with positive habits. By the way, our character development program at KMMA is also all about that. It's about replacing negative habits with new positive ones. Number 4 is to choose the right rewards. This one came out in my coffee time with Barbara this morning, and that is the reward has to be strong enough that it's worth the effort. It's got to be something that's going to pull us in the right direction and elicit the right behaviors, right? Because if not, what happens, of course, is you end up negotiating with yourself. You end up having a talk with yourself where you rationalize the reason that you're doing what you're doing, and in the negative. So we want to make sure that we're able to stop that by making the reward strong enough, both the reward in the future and the little rewards along the way. And then the last piece I wanted to say about rewards is they can't be rewards that actually somehow sabotage what you're doing, right? So if it's a fitness or weight loss goal, you can't reward yourself with something that's going to sabotage that. And of course, it's true financially, professionally, relationally. It roles matter which roles and goals we're talking about. It matters that, listen, Tony Robbins says that people do things to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So what I'm really trying to say here is we need to harness that. We know our mind works that way, whether we realize it or not, whether we're consciously thinking about it or not. Our subconscious mind is operating this way. So we have to, while we do all the other things I've talked about so far, while we're focusing our mind and managing our time and ourselves within the time and replacing negative habits with positive habits, while we're doing all those things, we have to make sure that we create reward systems that are going to bring us the right kinds of pleasure and help us to avoid the pain of saying. And then number 5 is really kind of a 3-part thing. Because it's 3 more choices, but it's step number 5, and that is we know you need a support system through all of this. So I would say choose the right plan first of all for whatever it is you want to accomplish. Find a plan that resonates with you and that you can stick to and that works. So make sure that whoever's pitching the plan has fruit on the tree. Do the research and choose your plan in each area of your life that you want to change. The second is pick the right mentors. Mentors are so important. This morning I was talking to somebody on the way in about the amazingly positive changes that have happened in my life over the last 30 years probably. But the last 24 that we've run the school, the last decade has been monumental. And besides the things that I study and read, the things that I try and do, I would say that when I really, really take a look at the growth, personally and professionally, it comes down to choosing the right mentors, which isn't to say I always did, but when then you move on from that if you make a mistake, right? But you choose the right mentors, choose people that can help you to accomplish the things that you say you want to do so that you can get more of what you want and less of what you don't. And then choose the right tribe, because not just the mentor. The law of association says become like the 5 people that you associate with the most often. But that was Jim Rohn said it that way. But what I have found here in our Black Belt leadership community at Krav Maga Martial Arts is that it's a whole tribe of people that are encouraging you, inspiring you. And by the way, each one does some of all of this, right? Like a newer student looks to a black belt and there's a certain level of inspiration there, right? So there's motivation and inspiration, but there's also encouragement and empowerment. And the tribe can give all of that together. And when the tribe is giving all of that, and there are also a great mentor in the room, magical things happen. So listen, I hope this has been useful for you. And if you've invested the whole 14 minutes, probably 15 minutes by the time I wrap this up, thank you and congratulations. And finally, I would be remiss not to offer, if you're not already part of our KMMA tribe, hey, look, if you're already in my KMMA Black Belt Leadership Tribe, I'm going to help you do all these things in 2025. We got some amazing plans to fully support you to all your roles and goals. Of course, becoming confident, competent Black Belt leaders, but not just that. Whatever the things that you identify as the most important to you as you do your planning process in these next weeks to prepare to make next year your best year ever. If you're already in the tribe, you're going to be getting a lot of this over the next few months. And then, of course, through the year. Because, it's about the planning. It's about the execution. It's about the accountability. All those things go into success. And if you're not already a member of the tribe, what I'm trying to say is I want to invite you in. Make sure you go to tampacrimeandguy.com. Click on that. There's also, I think I also got the website to my author page here. Check all that stuff out. And then most importantly, whether you do it there or you call 813-948-4844 to talk to one of my confident, competent Black Belt leaders about coming in. We want to get you in here for your 2-week free VIP orientation program. And we want to help you make this next year the best year in every area of your life that's important to you. That's what we do. We're a Black Belt Leadership Academy that also happens to teach the most practical self-defense and also happens to help people get their goals. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Empower, prepare to live, empower to lead. Let's make this a great, great year.